Hi, my name is Brandon Hill, and welcome to Out of the Box Creative Makeup. I'm so excited to be bringing to you today my first video makeup tutorial for a drag makeup based upon marble. Since my look today is a drag makeup, I'm going to be changing the contours on my face and blocking out my eyebrows. We want to first start with an alcohol cleaning pad. This helps to get any residue or any of the face stuff, oils, makeup, anything like that out of the hair. So it helps the glue, the adhesive, to stick better. When I'm using the alcohol pads, I do around here on the edge of my hair to cut this out because it'll be covered in makeup, of course, as well as my eyebrows themselves. I'm doing that on both sides, and I completely cover the hair that my intention is to cover up with the glue stick and making sure that I let it dry. The next step to getting rid of your eyebrows and the hairline that you don't want to use, I use an Elmer's Goes On Purple Dries Clear glue stick. This is fantastic for covering up the eyebrows, works really, really well. Got it off of Amazon. You could probably go to any Walmart, things like that. But I found that the purple one works the best when it's covering the eyebrows. One tip when you're using the glue stick is I like to go against and with the grain of hair to make sure that all aspects of the hair are covered, so it's not just going in the direction of the hair, but the first layer is I like to go back and forth to make sure that it's completely covered. Next, I'm going to take a comb. I found that a comb works really well. You can see some of the glue that's already on it, and I like to push up in the direction that I want the hair to go, and being kind of slightly aggressive with how you push the hair. You know, as you get older, your skin is a little bit looser. But then I take the back of it, this part here, and I push it down to ensure that the top is as smooth as possible. This is an important step. After combing it in the direction, you want to make sure that you're getting all of the hairs to lay completely flat and as close to the skin as possible. I'll do the other side. Once you've allowed the first layer to dry and it's still a little bit tacky to the touch, you're gonna go with your second layer of the glue stick. Sometimes you'll see people lick it. That just allows it to be able to run smoothly over, because sometimes it can be a little bit dry and pulls. All right, my second layer has dried. Now for the final one, step number 3, with the glue stick. Now before this dries, completely dries like the other 2 layers that we had, we want to put a loose face powder on it. I use the Aesthetica. You can also use the Coty Airspun as well. Both of these I found on Amazon, and you can get them for pretty cheap, but these you want to help set the glue stick itself. Today I'm going to be using the Aesthetica. You want to do this while the glue stick is still nice and sticky. And I get enough of the powder on my pad, and I gently first press on it to make sure that it's fully covered before really pressing it into my brow. And I'm pressing pretty hard on this because I want to make sure, once again, that it's as flat as possible. I'll do the next. All right, the final step is just to get rid of the loose powder. Lightly just using just a normal flat brush here. Get rid of the extra powder. Here. One thing that I'll also mention that all of the products that I'm using in my my tutorials, I'm going to be putting where you can buy them. Like I've been typically using a lot of Amazon, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to use Amazon. It's just the most convenient. And as I started my makeup journey, really didn't have anything other than just Amazon because I started it during COVID and quarantine. Okay, and there we have it, completely blocked. Everything is dried down. As I mentioned, today's look is based upon a stone marble, which means drag. And so the whole area of my face, and I'm gonna be doing my upper body, is gonna be done in white. And so today I'm gonna be using a Krylon TV paint stick. And this one is 070, which is the complete white makeup itself. And there's many different cream sticks out there that you can use. Also use Mehron cream stick as well. But the Krylon is really great for full coverage, and it's a little bit more of a dense, especially as my base, as I'm putting all the other colors on it, it's gonna work really well. But once again, bought this off of Amazon. Okay, so I'm gonna block out my whole face. All right, for today's blending, I'm just gonna be using an actual brush itself. I also use blenders as well, just depending on what I'm wanting to do. But since I'm trying to do just a standard white full coverage, a little bit easier to get into my ears and covering up any of my pores and things like that. So. All right. Looks like I have pretty good coverage that I want for my face. The next step is before I put the setting powder and things like that on it, I'm going to be mapping out all the different lines that I have, because within the marble that I'm doing blue pieces and gold trimming and things like that. So I'm going to be kind of sketching out the lines. And by doing that, I'm going to use a thin brush with a little bit of my little thin, right? As you can see, it's pretty thin, okay? For the lining itself, I'm going to be using a grease paint. You can get these, the Flash, 12 Flash color palettes. This is once again, off of Amazon, the CC Beauty Professional Cosmetics. There's lots of different ones, but I'm going to be using this one to get some of the lines through. The great thing about doing this first before I do the setting powder is if I do make a mistake or anything like that, I can always cover it up. But with this here, within the makeup that I'm doing, a lot of the lines are a little bit more organic. All right, I'm gonna finish up this lining and I'll be back with you on the next step. All right, all of the lining is done on my face. I still have to do my neck, but I'll do that apart when I'm doing my chest. Since this is a drag beauty makeup, and of course we blocked out you can't see my eyebrows anymore, that we're going to do the next step and kind of doing some of the basis contour. Remember, thinking about, you have your creams and then you have your powders, right? And so when you're doing your cream base, which is kind of the foundation, when you're putting powders, things like that over it, it helps to kind of set in and lock in whatever the cream or a grease paint that you're using. So the next step is I like to do my eyebrows before I do any of the setting stuff. And so we're gonna be doing those in black. So I have a kind of an angled flat brush. As you can see, it's still very super thin. Anything thin like this, but also that angle, works really well when I'm doing my eyebrows. Once again, I'm going back to my Flash palette. And for these, I'm going to be using a black base. So get it on my brush. And I am left-handed, so I always start with my left side first. When doing the eyebrows, I'm always thinking about the starting point being on the edge of your nose. So I just like to do it just a little dot just to make sure that I understand where that's at. And then the edge is going to be slightly at the angle here. If you're noticing kind of nose to here, that helps to set. And thinking about the center of the eyebrow being slightly up there. Okay. I always say that eyebrows are like snowflakes, no two are the same. And so we'll go back and make adjustments to this to make it a little bit more symmetrical compared to the other eyebrow, but we'll work on that once we get to the other side. Okay, I'll do the other side. I'll be back with you. All right, both eyebrows are on, looking a little bit more human. All right, next I'm going to be using this brush right here and doing the first layer of the eyeshadow. For my eyeshadow, I am using a by Color Studio Beauty Gazed. All right, once again, this right here, found on Amazon as well. It was one of my first kind of color palettes, and I have a gazillion color palettes now, but this is kind of a standard one that I love, and you can see that I've used it quite a bit. All right, for this one, I'm going to be using a darker shade for around the edge here. So get into the blue family. Tap off all the excess. Be doing that. And start right on the inside here. Something in another tutorial that I'll end up doing for you is I have hooded eyelids, and so doing a lot of the creative eye makeup, things like that, I have to be super creative with the shape, because when I do the hooded, it all goes away very quickly. The other part is I want to be darker in this area here. I'm noticing that with this eyebrow, this eye went a little too low, so I'm going to end up reshaping it and bringing it out this way just a little bit more, but I'll take care of that in just a little bit. All right, I'm going to do the other eye, eyelid, and fix this right here, and I'll be back with you. All right, so we fixed the eyebrow on this side and got the base color that we want. All right, so now that we're going to do the cut crease, I saw this hack on YouTube, but you take your clicker here and put the foundation color here that we would use and put it right in there. Notice it helps create the cut roundness that we want. Side. As I mentioned before, with my hooded eyelids, I go a little bit higher than I normally would if this was like a standard beauty makeup. And it allows me to be able to, you can actually see it. Okay. So now we're going to take a foundation white and fill this in. Something also too with hooded eyelids, as you're doing this, you have to barely press. If you press too hard, it obviously moves the skin, and so the lines, especially when you're trying to create straight lines, makes it really difficult. So you have to lightly press on your skin as you're doing this. If not, it'll pull and you will not get the straight line that you want. Okay, I'm gonna do the other side and I'll be back with you. All right, I have the crease on both sides, and I'm gonna go in with a lighter blue. So this one right here, lighter blue, and then I'm going to kind of blend in this outside space. And blending in from the dark corner into that, and I'm going towards basically the center of the eye is where I want that to blend into the white. Now, as you can see, because of the hooded, it does that quite a bit. So being smart about the direction of your brush and how you blend those in, then you can get a good ombre effect. And once again, you want to saturate slowly with the color until you get it right. Just being patient with that blend. Okay. All right, I'm gonna do the other side. All right. Something also just to mention when you're doing makeup is to just trust the process. And when you're putting down and you're blocking, you're getting everything so it doesn't look as clean as you want it to, but trusting the process and continuing to refine with each step is really a part of it. When I first started, I wouldn't move on to the next step unless I got something right. And I realized I can always go back and continue to develop. And so I find that to be a lot easier and a little bit more doable as we're going through this journey with each of the makeups. Right. Perfect. Okay. So now that we've gotten the foundation of the eye, I'm going to go in now and go into the next level, which is creating a little bit more shape of my face and contour. I'm going to be using the same makeup that I used before within my eyes to create a little bit more consistency with that. And so I have this lighter color as well, one that I just kind of did the outline and the inner pieces there. But also too, I'm going to kind of shape the face with this lighter color. Okay, so doing cheek contour, I like to start at the top of the ear and go towards the corner of the mouth. And so within there, doing a light, especially with this, when I stay as light as possible as we go through, just gently adding in the color. And this is really an undertone to the marbling of the makeup itself. And so I don't want anything to be super, super, super dark because I want it to kind of blend into the background. Once again, we're just building in the color. And I always like to start darkest here, kind of blending the color forward into this face. And I'm not going to go as far down as I typically would do if this is, say, was like a full drag, because this piece here is going to end up being all blue. And so it's going to be covered up. Okay. All right, I'm going to finish up all the contouring and I'll be back with you shortly. All right, contouring is done. So I did a little bit around the nose to kind of thin out the nose a little bit. And once again, around the cheek here, and then especially the jawline, trying to get a little bit more of a pointed version to my chin. And so just going in lightly into that and doing my best to create a point and getting a little bit of here so it creates a little bit more of a cut. And once again, I'm going to come over this with all of the marbling through it, but to give myself a little bit of a base, so then you have an idea. Okay. Next is doing my lips. So I have super thin lips, as you can kind of see here. So what I like to do is overdraw them. So I'm going to get rid of a little bit of the excess white in here, because the color I'm going to be doing here is an outline black lip with a blue center. So I like to first draw the outside of the lip first, and I'm going to be once again just using this cream base black, and doing a full drag lip. So again, it all starts with symmetry and doing that. So first I like to make sure I understand where I'm going to in connection to that. So I first start with, come up this way, and an X here, as you can see, and then following that around to an overdrawn corner there. And then once again, do the same on this side. Okay. Now that we've outlined the lip, you can already tell a big difference just in how the face looks with having lips that fit that size. Okay. We're going to do a slight ombre look that's going to be based upon the colors that we have. So I'm going to first start with the center is going to be the darkest. All right, so one more step to this. Now that we have kind of the structure of our face with some of the lines, I'm gonna go in and fill in some of the spots where they're going to be solid blue. So then we can kind of then finally do the final setting powder. All right, so all the colors in. So now it's time to powder. All right, so now that we've done the setting powder, went back and just kind of highlighted a little bit of those blue spots. Now I'm gonna go in with the darker of our blues within the blue spots. I'm just going to create a little bit of dimension and depth to the blue color itself, kind of around the edges, and kind of drawing in a little bit of the eye makeup. All right, now where it really starts to come together is we're going to be using a black eyeliner. So this is Epic eyeliner by NYX Professional. Okay, so I'm going to go in and take all these lines and highlight, and so you're going to start to see a lot more of the dimension and start to come through. Great thing that as you're doing this, if you make a mistake, you can create something out of it. Or if you're not getting enough coverage, you can make it a little bit darker. And of course, with any type of marbling, things like that, there's going to be imperfections that you can create something out of. And so if you start to see a space where you can make it a little bit darker, make it a little bit wider, round out the edges a little bit, and it's okay to have those differences because marble, and it's going to have those imperfections naturally. All right, now that we've finished the face for the most part, I'm gonna go ahead and do my lower body in the same steps of the foundation and the lining and all that, and I'll be with you once we're ready to do some of the finishing touches. All right, so got chest done, all that stuff. Now we're gonna go in with a little bit of the gold from our flash palette and just adding in highlights around certain spots and creating a little bit more interest. And the great thing is there's no wrong answers within this. Just allowing it just to kind of be a vein, a gold vein within your marble look. All right, all the gold has been added to the look. All we just have now is for the finishing touches, eyelashes and contacts, and I'll be with you for the final look. And here we are, the final look. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'll have many more coming your way. If you like what you see, subscribe. Can't wait to continue to create amazing looks. Thank you so much.